This video is intended for audiences over the age of 13. If you are not 13 years or older, please click away from this video now. You have been warned. What's going on, you guys? It's your man James, aka JP, back again with the Toy Room, and Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker comes out in theaters tomorrow. So in traditional Star Wars fashion, I've been rewatching all the Star Wars movies, and I thought it'd be kind of cool to give my list and my ranking of all 10 movies, not including The Rise of Skywalker because obviously that's not out yet, but all of the other movies from worst to best, all 10 of them. So that's pretty much what we're going to be doing in this video. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get started. Coming in at number 10 for me, the worst of the Star Wars movies, that is going to be Solo. And that's not even because I think it's necessarily a bad movie. Cinematography wise, there's so many points in the movies, there's so many shots in the movies that are just completely dark. And I don't mean like dark in tone, I just mean like visually dark. I was rewatching it and I found myself really wanting to look at the settings on my TV to make sure that the settings were okay. I kept finding myself trying to turn the brightness up because there was just so many scenes that were so dark, and it was honestly kind of hard to watch because I'd say like over half of the movie is like that. Maybe even like 70% of the movie is just in really dark areas, not really lit very well, and it's honestly kind of hard to kind of focus on it, and that really took me out of the movie. Now, as far as the movie overall, I think it's a decent movie, and I think the actors did a really good job. I don't know the name of the actor that plays Han Solo, but I feel like he did a very good job portraying Han. And also Donald Glover, who plays Lando, I feel like he did a very good job portraying him as well. I feel like they got their mannerisms and the way that they act and everything like that. I feel like that was really well done, but and visually, you know, the special effects and all that are great, but just the fact that there's so many scenes that are just really dark and really hard to focus on really took me out of the movie, and that puts it at the bottom spot for me. Coming in at number 9, it's going to be Star Wars Episode 8, The Last Jedi. So, yes, I have a Last Jedi shirt because, look at the back. This is so cool. All the dates that all of the movies came out, I don't know if you guys can see that, if the camera's focusing, but I thought that was really cool. But this movie comes in at number 9 for me, and it's really because of the story, and I feel like the movie's way too long. It's 2.5 hours long, and I felt myself getting bored kind of through the middle of it, especially the scene where they go to Canto Bight, I believe it is, the little casino thing that Finn and Rose go to. Yeah, I just felt like the movie was definitely dragged out way too long. It's definitely the longest out of any of the Star Wars movies, I believe, coming in at 2.5 hours. And the story, man, because oh man, this upsets me every time that I think about it. So visually, the movie's great. All the special effects, all the action scenes are, and visually, it's probably the best looking Star Wars movie. It's got some of the best action scenes in a Star Wars movie, especially towards the last half of the movie. And it's just got some of like the coolest shots like ever when she goes into to hyperspace and flies right through the big, I think it was a dreadnought. But the story, like I said, I know there was a new director on this particular movie. It wasn't J.J. Abrams. And everything that J.J. Abrams set up in Episode 7 with Snoke, with Rey's parents, with Kylo Ren, just kind of threw all of that out of the window and just took it. They killed off Snoke, said that Rey's parents are nobody, and it really just kills it for me. So it's going to be interesting to see how Episode 9 is going to kind of repair all the damages that Episode 8 caused. Yeah, just story-wise, I hate it, honestly. Even with Poe and his whole thing, it's like everything could have just been avoided if they would just told him the plan, and it was anyways, so yeah, that ranks in at number 9 for me. I don't really need to tell you guys any more about The Last Jedi because I'm pretty sure you guys all know all the issues with that movie. So moving on. In at number 8 is going to be Star Wars Episode 2, Attack of the Clones, and simply for the fact that the acting is almost unbearable, and I cannot stand Anakin's character in this movie. He is a big, whiny, spoiled brat in this movie, and I don't like the tone that they took with it. The romance between him and Padme, cringy at best. It's not that great. The action scenes, especially the one in like the little Coliseum thing where all the Jedis come and they ambush and to save Obi-Wan, Anakin, and Padme, I think that scene's absolutely amazing. I love the clone troopers. I don't feel like Jango Fett got enough time, and he was definitely killed off like just way too easily. But overall, you know, it's an okay movie, but definitely that acting by Anakin and just him complaining and whining throughout the entire movie just really doesn't do it for me. And the only reason that this ranks above episode 8 is because at least the story makes sense and it works in line with the rest of the trilogy, the prequels, whereas The Last Jedi just kind of completely destroyed everything that episode 7 set up. So that's why it ranks right above episode 8 for me. Right, and coming in at number 7, it's going to be Star Wars Episode 1, The Phantom Menace. Now this movie for me was always kind of the hardest to get through because of the whole midichlorian thing, and it was just all kind of boring, and all the politics involved in it. But watching it recently, it's actually not as bad as I remember, and definitely doesn't deserve as much hate as everyone on the internet gives it. It's actually done a lot of really cool things. The pod racing is some of the best stuff in any Star Wars movie, and I think the Duel of the Fates with Darth Maul, Obi-Wan, and Qui-Gon Jinn, that battle is honestly probably the best lightsaber battle for me. I'm just thinking back, and I'm gonna say that's the best battle for me throughout any of the Star Wars movies. And Darth Maul is such a cool character. He is my favorite Star Wars character. He's my favorite Sith. I love his design, from the red and black to the horns and the dual wielded lightsaber, the staff or whatever. I just think that is just really, really cool. So the movie had a bunch of really cool things. Unfortunately, it's just, I don't know, some of the movie is boring, again, with the midichlorians thing and all the politics involved. I personally don't mind Jar Jar. I don't think he was that big of a nuisance, but yeah, I wish I could put this movie higher, but just comparing it to all the other movies, it sticks right here at this spot. Coming in at number 6, it's going to be Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith. Now, this movie is awesome. It's definitely not, for me, it's the best prequel movie. It's definitely not the best Star Wars movie, obviously why I'm ranking it at this spot, but it's just got so many cool things. Watching Palpatine's plan going from episode 1 all the way to episode 3 coming into fruition, how this one guy just planned all of this. He thought every step ahead possible, having Order 66 come into fruition, having all the Jedis just executed, murdered, all the way down to the younglings with Anakin, and just seeing that transformation from Anakin go from Anakin to Darth Vader, it's just so cool. Some of the special effects in here are absolutely amazing. The lightsaber fighting with Anakin and Obi-Wan at the end, while some of the lava parts were a little weird, just the choreography and stuff was really cool. And again, just watching Palpatine's plan come to fruition from the past 2 movies, and then continuing on from this movie onto the original trilogy and beyond, is just so cool. So I really love this movie, but again, comparing it to all the other movies, it stays right here on this spot in the list for me. Coming in at number 5, and this is probably going to shock a lot of you, it's going to be Star Wars Episode 6, Return of the Jedi. Now this movie, I honestly wish I could put it higher. It's part of the original trilogy, but for me, the movie gets really boring about halfway through. Basically from the point that they meet the Ewoks all the way up until they start to ambush the stormtroopers, it's just really boring. It's just a lot of sitting around, planning with the Ewoks, introducing all the characters to the Ewoks and whatnot. So while all the space fights and everything in this movie are really good, the action, especially towards the end, and the duel with Luke and Darth Vader, and then Darth Vader turning on Palpatine and all that's really cool. But I don't know, just halfway through this movie, I found myself getting really bored with the movie. So yeah, unfortunately, I have to put it right here, smack in the middle at number 5. Coming in at number 4 is going to be Star Wars Rogue One. Now, I absolutely love this movie. As a spin-off movie, they did a great job, and I love how they told the story of basically what happened right before episode 4, and I love how it leans into episode 4 right at the end. And honestly, this was the greatest Darth Vader battle scene that we've ever gotten. I mean, that scene at the end where he's just in the tunnel going with the lightsaber, using all the force powers and everything that he knows, was just crazy. That was honestly one of the best scenes in any Star Wars movie. I said the battle with Darth Maul was my favorite like actual duel, but this scene is probably my favorite scene because, you know, Darth Vader's supposed to be this dark, menacing, you know, overpowered Sith Lord basically, and we don't really see that in the original trilogy due to the limitations of, you know, technology at the time and lightsaber battles. But they just did Darth Vader justice. This is how Darth Vader should have been throughout every movie. And also the Battle of Scarif at the end, like the whole last hour of the movie is just non-stop fast-paced action, and I love it. Such a great movie. I love the story they told. All the characters are memorable, for me at least. I love all the characters in that movie. So just a great movie. Star Wars Rogue One, watch it if you haven't. Coming in at number 3, this one is tough for me because it's kind of a toss-up in the number 2 and the number 3 spot between episode 4, A New Hope, and episode 7, The Force Awakens. They are both great movies, and they're both some of my favorite Star Wars movies, but I can't really decide which one goes in second place and which one goes in third place. So I think I'm gonna put episode 4 in third place, and that could change at any given moment. You ask me tomorrow or even later today, I might change my mind, but I'm gonna put episode 4 in third place. Episode 4 is such a great movie, and what they were able to do with the special effects, what was it, in 1977 that movie came out, cannot be understated. The special effects are just incredible. George Lucas is a visionary. It's the movie that introduced us to this whole franchise. This whole list started with this one movie, introduced us to all of the memorable characters that we've had, and yeah, I can't say enough about this movie. It's one of the best movies of all time, and it kind of hurts me putting it at number 3, but I give The Force Awakens kind of an advantage just because of the time that it came out and all the technology they had to their disposal. It's a beautiful movie. All these special effects are crazy. The characters that they introduced are memorable. BB-8 is probably like the cutest character ever in a Star Wars movie. Poe, Rey, Finn, absolutely love all those characters. And it's just a great movie, and I know a lot of people kind of knock it because it kind of follows the same format that A New Hope did, so it's kind of like copy-paste, change a couple things here and there, but I just love the movie. It's a great movie, and again, just, I don't know, it's so tough for me because now thinking about it, I kind of want to move episode 4 into the number 2 spot because, again, what it did for this franchise, what it did for movies, cinematography in general, it's tough. So I don't know, it's a toss-up. I'm gonna put it at a tie at the number 2 and 3 spot for episode 4, New Hope, and episode 7, The Force Awakens. Obviously, we're at the number 1 spot, and that only leaves one more movie left, and of course, I mean, did you guys expect anything else? It's going to be Star Wars Episode 5, The Empire Strikes Back. This movie is amazing. It's got everything that you could ever want. Even more memorable characters. We get introduced to Yoda in this movie. The opening scene, the battle on Hoth, is just amazing. The soundtrack is incredible, and it brings me back to my childhood, especially during the Battle of Hoth and all that music that John Williams stuck into there, because that was in a lot of the video games, specifically Star Wars Rogue Squadron on the Nintendo 64. That was one of the songs that played a lot throughout that game, so that really brought me back to my childhood. The score is incredible. We got Lando introduced, we got Yoda introduced, we saw a lot more of Boba Fett. We got so many memorable scenes from this movie, the I Am Your Father scene, the Han frozen in carbonite, just so many great scenes in this movie. And I definitely did forget to mention before, episode 6 does get a couple extra bonus points for that Leia scene, but don't tell Christina that I said that. But jumping back into episode 5, man, it's just such a great movie. The action is amazing. Like I said, the battle on Hoth is legendary, and it's almost a perfect movie, honestly. To me, it's the best Star Wars movie out of all 10 of them, and you just can't go wrong with that movie. So that is my list. That is all top 10 Star Wars movies ranked. Now let me know down below your ranking and how it differs from mine. Let me know all your opinions and thoughts down below, but that is my personal list. I know Rogue One is going to be way higher on my list than it is on a lot of people's lists, but I just really like Rogue One. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Let me know if you're excited to see Star Wars The Rise of Skywalker starts premiering in theaters tomorrow. I'm definitely going at 7 p.m. tomorrow. So I may do a follow-up to this video and kind of show where I put episode 9 in that list. Let me know if that's something you guys want to see. And I can also try and do like a spoiler-free review if you guys are interested in that. So definitely let me know down below. So that's pretty much it. I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here. So as always, guys, stay tuned for more, and I'll see you guys next time.